lose their tiny tempers up, but it's an earthquake. Watch how I define an error, this is what my work made. They ain't no one else who's better, know my name's in first place. Rising like a phoenix from the ashes like my first mate. Whoa, got my dogs with me, kinda he don't bother me. Whoa, you can't tire me, your land is now my property. Whoa, all ferocity, whoa, no apologies. They will all remember this, my story's no mythology.
What's up guys, Memorex, back with a brand new video. In today's video, we have top 10 most powerful alternate versions of Venom Marathon by Top 10 Nerd. Okay, now before we get into anything, let's talk about this thumbnail. Now, if I'm not mistaken, which I don't think I am, I don't believe... Now, if I know my character right, which I believe I do, that ain't Venom. Motherfucker, ain't that Toxin on the thumbnail? Ain't that Toxin? Like no disrespect, but why y'all got Toxin on the thumbnail if it's the most top 10 alternate version of Venom? I mean, unless there is an alternate version of Venom that I don't know about that's got like a red Venom, like unless that is true, but that looked like Toxin, not Venom. But anyhow, we just gonna go ahead, guys. Yo, like, you know, Venom is my favorite Marvel character, so when I looked at top 10's nerd videos, I saw that they had this, I was like, yeah, I gotta react to it. Now, make sure y'all strap in and y'all make sure you got some snacks and stuff, because this gonna be kind of a long video, because, this motherfucker video is 38 minutes long. So I might not be pausing too much, okay? 38 minutes long? Oh, hell no. So, but make sure y'all strap in. Hey, and by the way, if y'all find any more Venom videos, out there, let me know. I'll react to those, because it doesn't even have to be just Venom. It could be symbiote stuff in general, and I will react to it, bro, because I love symbiote stuff. And I'll be right back. My dog is messing with stuff. I'll be right back. I'm back, y'all. Sorry about that. My dog's messing with stuff. Anyhow, let's go ahead and get into this. I'm pretty sure it gets it. I saw the first couple seconds. It looks like it gets into it right away. They don't need to waste no time with intros or nothing like that. Which makes sense, because 38 minutes long. Let's go.
Kicking off the list at number 10, we have Lee Price.
Oh, Lee Price?
Making his comic book debut as Venom in Volume 3, Lee Price had a pretty rough life. Before the symbiote stuff, even. He was bullied. His father was horrible to him and his mother, so he burned the place down to the ground. Which is not a great way of handling the situation, but comic book.
Okay, I didn't know about that. I really didn't watch Lee's full stuff. Like, I seen the comic books with like Lee. Like, I saw that I actually have the comic book where it was like where Lee turned into Venom, you know, like Venom versus Scorpion. Like it was that one. Like, I saw that one, but I didn't like see Lee's full story. I don't know the full story, but I really like Lee's Venom because his Venom looks cool as freak, bro.
You know, what are you gonna do? He blamed the fire on a mutant boy with pyrokinesis, and when he grew up, he suppressed all of it. He actually believed down the road that his father had abandoned him and that the fire was actually caused by the mutant. He was in protective services after that point, and as an adult, he would join the Army Rangers, until he was injured in a mine explosion, which in turn left him without a few squad members and a few fingers. Discharged and left without any benefits, Lee had no choice but to accept a job from Mac Gargan to be a tough guy while the deal goes down between Black Cat's gang and Tombstone's gang. That's when he found the symbiote, or rather, the symbiote found him. Number 9.
Most of the time, symbiote finds him.
Venom
Ultimate Venom.
1610, aka the Ultimate Universe, made his first appearance in Ultimate Spider-Man 33.
Oh, I don't remember this one.
The Ultimates are great for the most part. We see these major changes to the heroes we thought we knew, like Thor, for example, isn't a god this time around. Gwen becomes Carnage, and Wanda and her bro, they're close. They're closer than the other version. I
know someone's gonna be possible, but I'm sorry, I got pause sometimes throughout this. But I don't remember one where Gwen was Carnage. I mean, I remember seeing one where MJ became the Carnage symbiote, or like when Noel turned MJ to the Carnage symbiote. Like, I think that was a spinoff from King of Black, I think. But, like, I remember that one, but I don't remember Gwen ever being the Carnage symbiote.
Sure. In this tale, Richard Parker and Eddie Brock Sr. were working together to develop a way to heal humanity. The symbiotic biosuit named Project Venom was underway. The project was adding up to be more than a two-man job, so they partnered up with Trask Industries for some help. The company eventually realized the potential of the symbiote and figured, let's just use it as a bioweapon and create super soldiers. Sounds good, let's do it. That ought to do something, right? Well, it did do something. When Richard and Eddie were on a plane to fight Trask in court, see, they had secretly created their own version and wanted to pull it out to prove ownership. But Eddie pulled the suit out a little bit too early while they were still flying, and that's how they all perished in the Ultimate Universe. As a student, Eddie Jr. began studying a sample of that same Venom project with Dr. Kurt Connors, and Peter took a piece to study himself. After Peter spilled a drop on his hand, he got the black suit makeover, cranking his powers up to 10. He was now untouchable, but when a robber shot fought another man, this triggered Peter. It reminded him of his Uncle Ben and what happened, so he went full Venom. He made an absolute mess. He lost the symbiote after getting entangled in electric cables on purpose. He wanted this thing to go. The only parts left were in his bloodstream, and also that other sample left at the lab, which, yes, Eddie Jr. ended up finding. And before we continue on with this list, if you want to go ahead and give this video a thumbs up, if you're enjoying it,
already done.
Not, still give it a thumbs up and still give us more chances. I don't know. Back to the list. Number 8, Demon. Coming in hot from Earth 5101, Pavatar.
Look, I don't know this one.
Made his first appearance in Spider-Man India.
But I know I'm not supposed to pause like that, but I feel embarrassed as freak. Every time I see a Venom, like, I'm supposed to be a Venom fan, but every time I see a form I don't know, I feel embarrassed as freak, bro.
Issue 1. Pavatar moved to Mumbai with his Aunt Maya and Uncle Bim to continue studying. He got half a scholarship and was determined to keep the success train going. His best and only friend, MJ, Mira Jane, stood by his side all the while. He got his powers through an ancient ritual, which in my opinion is way cooler than a spider biting your hand mid-photo, you know? Nalan Oberoi, a crime lord of this alternate reality, used an amulet to get himself possessed by a demon. That demon was determined to hold a door open for other demonic forces. Pavatar, while being chased by bullies, ran into an ancient yogi who then gave him the powers of a spider, which sounds great, but when you find out that this reality's Venom is a century-old demon stuck in an amulet, you get a little bit nervous for him. Demon Venom was freed by a cult called the Neo-Alvers, and once he was free, nearby towns were just obliterated. You know the rest. He had us in the name Demon, let's be honest here. Number 7, She-Venom. Anne Wang, aka She-Venom, will be returning in Venom Let There Be Carnage. Michelle Williams is set to return, of course, and she's been around in comics.
I freaking love that movie, though. I don't care what nobody says.
She first appeared in Amazing Spider-Man issue 375 back in 1993. She first met Eddie while at Empire State University, and she actually fell in love with him quite.
Speaking, what the frick happened? Speaking of which, okay. I know I keep saying I'm not supposed to pause like that, but I keep pausing. Speaking of which, if you don't know, I ended up making a review on the Venom Let There Be Carnage movie, so I saw it like on a day it came out, like October 4th, I believe it was. I think it was October 4th. No, I think it was before that a little bit. No, I think it was like October. No, it was like October 1st, if I remember correctly. Anyhow, I saw it Venom Let There Be Carnage, so I made a movie review on it, and that junk actually got copyrighted. Like I got a copyright strike, bro. So if I was trying to make that again, I'll probably get another one, and another one to the channel gets taken. But the thing is, I didn't use no images from the movie, bro. It was just all me, other than the thumbnail. But I don't think, but when I looked it up, it turns out the company that copyrighted that video has a habit of doing what they false copyright claims on people who do movie reviews. Cause like it actually happened to another person who did another Venom movie review. So sorry, I can't put that up now. Which I was pretty I'm mad about, cause I actually really want to put that review up. So.
Not having Wi-Fi when you want it. Hello to a phone plan with a full speed hotspot tethering. Hello Google Fi. A phone plan that can.
You're about to meet the greatest.
Oh, hello. I was about to pause it until it comes back up. What the freak?
Legendary.
Who the frick are they?
Fashionable. Powerful.
Well, I'm sure that was a lot of fun for you.
It was.
On November 5th.
Now I gotta skip. I was tempted to watch it, but I gotta skip,
quite fast because, you know, he saved her life from a group of thugs. That ought to do it. So they get married. Eddie starts working for the Daily Globe. She was a lawyer, and everything sounds like a pretty fantastic household, if you ask me. You know, until Venom Dark Origin issue 2, when she divorced Eddie after getting sick of his Spidey hatred. Once Eddie got the symbiote, Spider-Man asked for Anne's help. Any hot tips, favorite driving ranges? Come on, help a brother out here. So she explained some of his history, and it did help. Spider-Man was able to meet up with him in issue 375 of The Amazing Spider-Man, but Anne followed in the background as well. She wanted to talk to Eddie and talk him down from this vendetta. Things were actually starting to cool off for a bit, and then these idiots show up to take everybody in. That doesn't happen, obviously. Instead, Anne is put in danger, and Spider-Man helps Eddie save her, and then the two webheads make a deal. Later on in Venom Sinner Takes All issue 2, Anne was shot by the third Sin Eater and was bleeding internally. It wasn't looking good. Venom carried her away to a secret hideout, and the only way she could survive was if the symbiote attached itself and healed her, thus creating She-Venom. Number 6, Anti-Venom. When Eddie Brock and the symbiote did separate, you would think that would be the
my favorite
end,
version.
or something good at least. Well, in fact, without the symbiote, Eddie has to now live with cancer, which sucks. But he spent his day.
I'm sorry, y'all. I gotta stop pausing, but I'm sorry. But ain't Anti-Venom technically not Venom himself? Technically speaking, Anti-Venom's not Venom, though. I mean, can we really count that as an alternate version of Venom? Because technically speaking, Anti-Venom is not Venom. Like it only happened like when Mr. Negative, did something. I forgot exactly what he did, but basically did something with Eddie's white blood cells. Then Venom tried to bond back with Eddie, and then Anti-Venom was created. But it was the actual Venom symbiote. So can we really count it as an alternate version of Venom? Since Anti-Venom is basically just a completely different symbiote, even though it's basically even though it's created from Venom, kind of. I'm not sure, but still, Anti-Venom is still one of my favorite symbiotes, though. I freaking love that motherfucker.
He's volunteering at the Feast Center. So
and he'll probably be the most
something's
useful
happening.
symbiote to have if you have one in real life.
Lee, aka Mr. Negative, used his powers to cure Eddie's cancer.
Oh,
Just
yeah, that's
Eddie?
what
Like, I feel like there's a lot of other people we could help out, but okay. But in doing so,
true.
Lee accidentally infused the symbiote into Eddie's bloodstream, so the symbiote was fused into his white blood cells. In the Amazing Spider-Man issue 569, Anti-Venom is now born. It's just Venom with the opposite colors, essentially with the white blood cells added
Looks
in
cool
there.
as
This
free,
version
though.
of the symbiote has phenomenal healing powers, as you would guess. It can create antibodies that cures any known disease or any impurities with your body. Now, the main difference between Venom and Anti-Venom is that Eddie Brock is now in full control. He's got two hands in the wheel this time around, and the symbiote lasted a few years in the comics, and in the Amazing Spider-Man issue 671, it was destroyed when it was used to cure the spider virus. Number 5, Gwenom. Hitting the page for the first time.
Oh,
in
Gwenom.
Spider-Gwen
Yeah, this
Volume
one,
2,
now we're getting
issue
to ones I
25.
know.
Gwenom, well, you can probably guess. Gwen Stacy turns to the dark side after she sees her father beaten into a coma from Rhino. Thing is,
Damn.
Matt Murdock gave the order. Yikes. She's out for blood, and this symbiote will make it a lot easier to shed it. But not if Frank Castle gets to them first. He actually killed Rhino right as Gwenom was gearing up to do it. Probably for the best that it didn't happen. She's actually out for everybody at this time, because then she breaks into the SHIELD Correctional Facility to confront Cindy Moon, and she asks Cindy why she made this mutant spider in the first place. Cindy sees that she's upset, but she doesn't blame the symbiote. She knows that these are Gwen's words and thoughts. The symbiote is just shouting them. Cindy implores Gwen to let go of her anger towards Matt Murdock, which is easier said than done. Number 4, Venom 2099. Kron Stone, the
bro, I'm not gonna lie, that's an ugly version of Venom, bro.
Spider-Man 2099 first entered comics in Punisher 2099.
Yeah, I'm not even gonna cap, that is an ugly version of Venom.
Issue 35, he becomes Venom. How did this happen? You're literally in the Spider family. What went wrong? Well, Kron was a bully. He was actually so horrible as a person that Miguel once tried to take him out before all this jazz. So Kron gave the orders to try and have Jake Gallows and his family wiped out, but Gallows found out and beat Kron to the punch. So while he was laying there in a sewer after a knife wound, this black ball of goop suddenly brushed up against him and then engulfed him. The symbiote was different this time around though. See, it had acidic blood and saliva to help get the job done. Kron can also turn his body into a liquid. The guy can literally shapeshift, so of course Venom 2099 is on this list. Number 3.
Wait, but Venom's always been able to shapeshift.
Venom strikes the Parker family again, this time.
Oh yeah, I forgot about May Parker. Bro, I forgot about.
Is quite unique when it comes to superpowers. In Jim Kruger's Earth X run from 1999, instead of keeping them a secret, she actually embraced it. I am Iron Man style, which is how I think I would handle powers, but realistically, I'm afraid of heights. I would retire in 5 business days tops.
Hey, I don't like heights
either.
either.
Spider sense like radar, and things were going well until she became the target of a symbiote. That same symbiote that had been used by her father years before. See, Peter rejected the symbiote at first, so now it was a little upset, and it swore revenge on the Parkers. Any Parker. Doesn't matter what age, what generation. Venom doesn't take too kindly to rejection, so one day it left an older Eddie Brock and made its way to May. Thing is, when the symbiote did bond to May, her spider sense training came in handy, and she was able to subjugate the symbiote and take control.
Goddamn, her friend.
Nice. This is why we all.
Yo, hold on, y'all. My dog doing something again. She always trying to ruin my videos. Bro, anyhow, I'm back, y'all. I'm sorry about that. My dog was doing something again. Anyhow, May Parker's symbiote May Parker's Venom actually looks cool as freak, though. I'm not even gonna lie. May Parker's symbiote look cool. But yo, you know what I realized? As much as I love Venom, he would probably be the worst symbiote to have, bro. Like, if he was to have one in real life. Cause I mean, I'm sorry if you hear the helicopter going by. I mean, this motherfucker has so many hosts, good and bad. And the symbiote host affects the symbiote, of course, personality-wise, like that. So, like, bro, Venom is like just like that one girl you don't want to mess with because you've been messing with a whole bunch of other guys. That's what Venom is, bro. Like, I would not, like, as much as I love Venom, I don't think I would want him as my host, bro. If on anything, I would want either. I think the best symbiote to have to be a host to would honestly be either Anti-Venom or Toxin. Because I actually heard Toxin actually isn't that bad, from what I looked up at least.
need a crime-fighting blind lawyer for guidance. Is it too hard to ask for? Number 2, Scorpion Venom. Matt Gargan was a private investigator hired by J. Jonah Jameson to find out just exactly how Peter gets those angles on the webhead. How does he get those TikToks? What is he doing? How does he get those boomerangs? They're always so good. Something's got to be up. But every time Mac would get close, Peter's spider sense would tip him off, and he would easily avoid him. It was kind of comical almost. So step 2 was, let's just pay Mac 10 grand and have him be the subject of an experiment involving animal mutations doctor Harley Sitwell. Then maybe we'll figure out how a wide lens works, perhaps. I don't know, that might be the trick. Obviously things go south, Mac becomes the villain to Scorpion. Later on in comics during Marvel Knights, Scorpion was recruited by Norman Osborn and was sent to kidnap Aunt May, if anything were to happen to Osborn. Hey, if you don't get a text back, go steal that kid's aunt. Awesome, freaks.
What?
So while
yeah,
on the way to take Aunt May, the recently freed Venom symbiote felt this shared hatred towards Peter Parker, and the two bonded, creating Scorpion Venom. Just the absolute worst. You never want to bump into this guy. And finally, number 1, The Punisher. With the Disney What If series launching off this past week,
I just realized this is the list we reacted to last time, but they said it says marathon, so meaning there's more than this. I should have skipped through this because we've seen this before. Like, I listened to it again, but yeah, these are not like the strongest versions of Venom, bro. There's versions of Venom way stronger than these though.
I think it's only fair to include one of my favorite What If scenarios, also the goriest. This one comes from What If Series Volume 2, Issue 44. Here we find the Venom symbiote taking over Frank Castle rather than Eddie Brock. Now, I thought the Punisher was frightening before this. Oh boy. This was the most people the Punisher has ever in his life. You've been warned. This is a pretty brutal time. The symbiote can shoot webs, and in Frank Castle fashion, an unlimited amount of bullets also comes in handy. The symbiote tried to take over Frank's body, but Frank vowed to end his own life if that was the case. So the symbiote's like, damn it. All right, fine, fair. Kicking off the list at number 10, ALEA Bell. Making her first appearance in Venom 2099, Issue 1, ALEA Bell started her superpowered days on a tragic note, as most of these are. She was in a car crash that ended up taking the life of her mother. She was raised afterwards by her father Theo Bell, and ALEA was having a hard time at school.
Yeah, it's like a combination of videos.
Of scars on her arm from that crash. So yeah, those kids are awful. Don't be like those kids. Thanks. Next, ALEA was selected to go under this experimental treatment developed by Alchemax scientist Dr. Russell. But as you would guess, being on this list, the experiment went south. During this treatment, she saw these visions of an ancient dark god. All these humans bunched up together, all these voices. It was just eternal
which one is
darkness. But after the treatment, her arm was back to normal, which was her main goal here. But when a bully came forward to try and mess with her the next day, a black tendril reached out of her hand and cut off the Alchemax monitoring bracelet. So something's fishy here. She started to then hear an evil voice in her head, so she ran home and literally tried to wash the symbiote off like a bad henna tattoo. Alchemax was planning on turning her into a super soldier the whole time. That was their secret evil plan. The symbiote and ALEA ended up relating to each other, and a new Venom was born. Their first plan of attack was to infiltrate Alchemax and get the rest of the symbiote, not just the arm part. Once Venom was whole again, ALEA made it agree to not kill anymore, and instead be a hero with her. A hero that scars childhood bullies named Bether. And before we continue on with this list of alternate versions of Venom, if you want to go ahead and give that video a thumbs up, that would help us a lot. It really goes miles for us here at Top 10 Nerd.
Don't forget me too. Sweet. Like, thumbs up the video. What the frick? Oh, ad! Dang. Oh, it's a double edge. Oh, okay, it's a skip one. I was gonna pause it. Till it come back, but now it's a skip one. Alright, we can skip it. Okay, thank goodness.
Back to the list. Number 9,
what's up?
X-23. Coming from Edge of Venomverse, this alternate version of the symbiote might be the scariest. Yeah, Laura was born in a lab from the DNA of one gene talent.
X-23.
She was cloned and alone all of her life, trying multiple times to escape, but still there was no luck.
Nope, never mind.
The guards were always ready for her. That is until a goopy solution was bestowed upon her.
I'm sorry, y'all. I thought X-23 was like that one symbiote. Like, what was it, like a clone of Venom or something like that? Like, I don't know. I have the comic book, but I forgot what it was called. But it's like a really huge one that was going up against Venom, and Venom was trying to merge with it and everything by this girl, but nah, it was different. It was Wolverine's daughter.
Her claw cracked open a glass panel that released the Venom symbiote, and the next page we see X-23 out and about, trying to talk the symbiote out of eating some of the others who live nearby. Now, they don't eat those kids, but when a thug comes along asking those kids for money that they owe, Venom Laura stops him real quick. Says people getting hurt makes them sick. And then 7 pages later, they absolutely annihilate more guards in public. We love it. Number 8.
Yeah, now I remember
Fashion
that
Venom.
one. Okay.
Venom with a twist,
Excuse
or
me?
rather, Venom with a hip twist. The Marvel Age miniseries Spider-Man and Power
Fashion
Pack.
Venom?
This was a 4-parter released in 1984. We have Alex, Julie, Jack, and Katie Power. They're these adorable young kids. Each got their powers after a chameleon named Whitey passed his powers onto them. He'd separated all of his abilities into the 4 of them. Kind of like the Fantastic Four, except with more boogers. The miniseries kicks off with Spider-Man thanking the Pack for helping him stop Sandman earlier. He thanks the children by getting them VIP tickets to New York Fashion Week, because that's something kids enjoy, apparently. Much better than Legoland, I guess. Little vacay on Spider-Man. We'd love to see it. Now, cut to a fashion designer rushing to work. He gets bumped, spills coffee everywhere. His fancy new fabric is ruined, so he's probably ruined as well. That guy that bumped into him just happened to be Venom. Spider-Man swoops in, handles him right quick with a sonic blaster, gets the symbiote right off of him. But where did that symbiote go? That designer got his glittery hands on the suit, and New York Fashion Week wasn't ready for the newest, hottest trend. He introduced this new fabric, so versatile it can change your appearance. Wow. So if you want to wear jorts, then all of a sudden you want to wear not jorts. There you go.
Hey, that's another reason why symbiotes would be extremely useful to have, bro. You could just turn into whatever clothes you want.
Dazzling dresses turn deadly. Turns out the solution of the day is bad European techno music at full volume. That's the solution for most things in life, realistically. Number 7, Venom Thing. Coming from Earth 51838,
The thing got with
making his
Venom?
first horrible appearance in Peter Parker, the Spectacular Spider-Man, issue 304.
How the freak do I not notice
Benjamin
that?
Grimm became the head guard of a prison for superhumans.
Right.
Of course, under the commands of President Harry Osborn. While he was there, that's when he came into
So how
close
the freak do I not
contact
notice?
with a symbiote and became this absolute unit. Look at this thing.
Oh,
The Resistance
that
came in
looks
and had to go
cool.
toe-to-toe with Venom Thing. That's the scariest thing I can imagine.
Yo,
Literally,
that
the
whole
scariest
look
thing I can imagine.
cool.
Out of all the alternate
Bro,
versions, this guy
I
has to
only
be the
remember
most
the thing
haunting.
being like
even
with a
before
piece
the
of
Venom
carnage.
symbiote actually came into contact with them, I wouldn't want to fight Ben Grimm in any prison on any day. So we have to include him. I mean, look at him. Come on. Number 6.
Cool.
Ngozi. Ngozi was a track star.
Oh.
She began her comic run in Venomverse War Stories issue 1. She was an outstanding athlete, an amazing person in general, until she was involved in a horrible bus crash in which paralyzed her from the waist down.
Oh,
Again,
dang.
another tragic start to this version. Really heartbreaking premises are coming in for part 2. Wow.
Seems like Venom
She was
always go for the
outside one
tragic
day
people.
trying to catch a grasshopper for her bug collection. Her hobbies, of course, were turned down a notch. She was a little slower, but still, nonetheless, she was outside enjoying life regardless. That's when the symbiote and her crossed paths, changing her life forever. The symbiote beforehand had been evading the grasp of Rhino, but when Black Panther was killed in that battle,
Black
Ngozi
Panther
convinced the symbiote to work with her instead in order to
Black Panther got who now? Black Panther got killed. Oh, I can't read that comic book then. Nope. I don't care, bro. I don't care what y'all tell me in the comments below. I don't care if y'all tell me that was a really good one. I'm not reading it. Black Panther died? Nope. I can't read it. I'm not reading that one. By the way, rest in peace, Chadwick Boseman. You know, he'll always be the GOAT. Rest in peace. But nope, I can't read that one. Can't read that one.
protect the civilians of Lagos. The Dora Milaje saw all this unfold, and they were impressed with the young lady. They saw courage in her, so they recruited her into their ranks and also into Wakanda, where she would then get another life-changing upgrade into that of the new Black Panther.
Oh,
Not
dang.
too shabby. Number 5. Hawkeye. While Clint may have evaded the symbiote's grasp in Old Man Hawkeye, he wasn't too lucky in the alternate reality of Earth 32323. That sounds so stupid. I just keep saying it for like 4 minutes. I'm like, hell. Beginning with Civil War Volume 2, Issue 2, Clint came into contact with it right after the death of Matt Gargan, who we broke down in Part 1, which if you haven't seen, you can watch it after. It's cool. You can do it out of order. We won't tell anyone. After that, Venom Clint was recruited by Peter Parker in order to infiltrate the Iron. The Iron was Tony's war zone. This was right after Civil War.
Oh, it's right
Peter
after.
recruited Clint in order to steal supplies for Beast to finish his weapon project. So he agreed, but upon landing, the group was attacked by Stark Sentinels, and Elektra ended up losing her life. Now, the reason Clint got this symbiote in the first place is still unknown, but it's said to be potentially traumatic, as are most things involving the symbiote. Number 4, Kingpin Venom. Wilson Fisk, straight out of Earth TRN 421.
The Kingpin got Venom? God damn it, who hasn't gotten Venom? Bro, literally, who hasn't gotten Venom at this point? This is why I say, as much as I love Venom, he would be the worst symbiote to have. Look at all the people he's freaking bonded with. Look at it. It's like a mix of good and bad, bro. I swear, if they decide to have a crossover, then they just start having DC characters bonded with Venom, bro. That would be it, bro. These motherfuckers gonna have Venom bond with Batman. Well, I think there was one crossover comic where they actually had Venom fighting Superman. I think I remember that one. It'll be a rap, bro. Who has not bonded with Venom at this point?
He appeared in the 100th anniversary special of Spider-Man issue 1 back in 2014. You would think Kingpin obtaining the symbiote for more power would be enough to make you feel sick, but he also had to upgrade it as well, which is what makes his version so unique, and I had to include it here. He added techno-organic improvements to the symbiote that gave him access to any and all tech on the planet. You better check those recently deleted photos before going to a dinner party with Wilson Fisk. When Eddie Brock and Peter Parker were duking it out, they both came to the conclusion that the symbiote should just, you know what, be destroyed. It's not helping either party. Let's just get rid of it. Great deal.
Oh, that's a
fist bump. But that's when Kingpin came along and kidnapped both of them. And then he got the symbiote. And honestly, Kingpin Venom, when he's chasing Peter down, he's like controlling tech and using it against him. I can see this being a pretty stressful situation for Peter. But
hey, yo, this remind me, like, I know I'm not supposed to pause. We're only we're barely even halfway through the video. I'm not supposed to pause like this. But, bro, if symbiotes for real, do not keep your electronics on you, bro. If symbiotes for real, especially when it comes to, like, stuff like this Kingpin, Venom, and Carnage, bro. Remember, Carnage can go through the internet to get you. Like, this motherfucker could be on the other side of the planet. As long as he got, like, a phone or computer he can go through, he show up right through your phone.
Somehow he managed to escape by luring him into the woods and then starting a forest fire. Usually I would advise against forest fires, but it's Venom we're talking about, so burn it. Burn it all. Get rid of him. Number 3, Don Fortunato. Quite an unfortunato story if you ask me.
I swear I heard that name
really, it's actually quite tragic. Back in 2005, Marvel wanted to reboot Venom, so the new Venom host was now Don Fortunato after he won the symbiote in an auction. Hey, you want a car or you want a life-changing goop that's gonna kill your family? He gave the suit to his son Angelo to make him more
this one.
tough, I guess. See, Eddie warned about the risks, but Angelo didn't listen.
Oh yeah,
Angelo
I forgot the one where Eddie auctioned Venom off.
Only to discover, oops, that was just an imposter, because costumes are a thing that exist in real life. And after a fight with the Spider-Man, Angelo left out of fear. Venom wasn't a fan of this, because he's like, oh, you're leaving. I don't like you, you're kind of weak. So he left the host. He left him
midair.
Spider-Man would have swooped down and saved him, but his gear wasn't working properly after the fight he just had with Angelo. You played yourself. Number 2, Old Man Logan. We had Laura on the list earlier.
Wait,
so
no,
we gotta throw Logan
I
in
do
there
remember
too.
Old Man Logan.
Coming from the edge of Venomverse issue 4, we see Logan get captured by Angel, Spider-Girl, and Hulk Jr. When all of a sudden he's eaten by a T-Rex. The same T-Rex that was venomized in the original Old Man Logan story. Now, considering the fact that Logan was eaten by the Hulk in that story and then ended up ripping his way out, we gotta think he's probably gonna be okay after this. And he is okay. In fact, he's better than ever. The symbiote ended up bonding with Logan inside of the dinosaur, giving us a pretty fun issue. He rips his way through the dinosaur and tears his enemies apart. At one point, we're even given a glimpse of Venom Captain America, but we'll save him for another list. And finally, number 1, Agent Venom. Flash Thompson first appeared in Amazing Fantasy issue 15 back in the early 60s, and since his first introduction as a classmate to Peter Parker, he's seen quite a bit of change. First starting out as a bully, and by the time he left college, he was joining the military, stationed in Southeast Asia. But he didn't stick around for too long. The American forces just destroyed this beautiful...
Hold on one second, y'all. I'll be right back. Y'all, sorry about that. Anyhow, we are on
beautiful temple that they found, and Flash was having no part of it. It's like Avatar, especially after meeting the lovely Shashan who healed him. He was like, guys, don't do this. Let's just go home. But he went home. He returned to America and needed Spider-Man's assistance because the survivors of that hidden temple were now after him because they blamed Flash. Flash didn't become suspicious of Peter Parker being the webhead until much later, in issue 135, in fact. By the time we get to Amazing Spider-Man 574, Flash had returned to the battlefield, this time in Iraq, but he lost both of his legs. When he returned, Shashan was able to help rehabilitate him. Things changed dramatically for Flash when he was enlisted into...
Peace out.
Skip? Nope. I'll be right back, y'all. Alright, y'all, back. Alright.
The battlefield, this time in Iraq, but he lost both of his legs. When he returned, Shashan was able to help rehabilitate him. Things changed dramatically for Flash when he was enlisted into Project Rebirth 2.0. The government had acquired the Venom symbiote after Mac Gargan's arrest following the siege of Asgard. We break down Mac in part 1 of this list, so you haven't checked that out yet. You know what to do once this is over. So now Flash has legs again. How lovely is that? And Spider-Man abilities, just to top that off. His first task made him enemies with the new Jack-o'-lantern. Honestly, I feel quite bad for Flash. Most see him as a bully. He had a terrible father, he got kidnapped by Dr. Doom because he dressed like Spider-Man one day, and he's got terrible luck. Number 10, Deadpool. We'll kick this list off.
One thing I gotta say, out of the Agent Venom series, in all honesty, my favorite of the Agent Venom series was honestly that one where it's like Agent Venom versus Toxic, bro. Honestly, that was my favorite, bro. I don't know why. That was just so fire. I freaking love that.
On a messy,
Oh,
red-blooded
Deadpool.
note.
Ain't he
Two
like the
red
first
guys
person to
slashing each other
get
up, both
Venom?
kind of insane. Let's talk about it. Deadpool vs. Carnage 2014. Right, so
Deadpool?
after Cletus Cassidy escaped a prison, the Merc with a mouth was the only one crazy enough to track him down. In order to track down a maniac, you kind of low-key have to be one.
There was a
You gotta
Deadpool
think like
versus
them,
Carnage
right?
one?
He thinks he can figure him out, and he
What
also
is
thinks
that?
a rocket launcher can take down Carnage. Kind of a fool, if you ask me. I mean,
Bro, I
in
gotta
fairness,
find that comic
fire and
book.
sound waves, they work, but it's Carnage we're talking about. A little bit stronger than our Venom guy. Wade gets a closer look, and although he likes guns, swords, and the occasional weed whacker, he thinks one of his grenades ought to do something. One of the many that he has hidden in crevices and places that we don't talk about.
Yeah.
And it does for a page. Carnage lays there, sans head for a moment or two, but backup arrives in the form of Shriek. Deadpool then gets his ass handed to him, and Wade gets impaled over and over and over again, with the last hit practically being the size of a tree just going through his body. Horrible. And then in the end, Deadpool needed a symbiote upgrade himself just to keep the fight fair. Number 9, Spider-Man.
Hey, look.
Of course, we have to
Hey,
talk
look.
about Spider-Man.
Of course, you have to talk about the OG person who had the Venom. Like, didn't Deadpool have Venom? Yeah, Deadpool had the Venom symbiote first, right? Secret Wars, I think it was. But yo, they didn't. But hold up, y'all didn't even show an image of Deadpool with Venom. Y'all didn't even show the image of that.
Getting his ass whooped as well. It's no surprise that Peter is on the top of Carnage's naughty list, and in Carnage, It's a Wonderful Life, Dr. Kafka and Security Chief Jameson get a glimpse inside Carnage's mind, and it's literally just a room full of Spider-Man being tortured. That's how it feels,
Goddamn.
though, just different versions of him being tortured in different
Why just
horrible
Why not
ways.
Venom
I think
too?
about, like candy corn and stuff. I don't know, I
He
guess I'm
didn't put
normal.
Venom
The
in
guy's twisted. Even in his head, his actions are brutal. But daydreaming aside, when Carnage does get his real-life hands on Spider-Man, it's so much worse. The Ultimate Comics introduced Carnage in Ultimate Spider-Man 61, and just one issue later, Carnage figured out the best way to hurt Spider-Man was to attack his heart, like Willem Dafoe yelled in the first Spider-Man movie. And before we continue on with this list, if you want to go ahead and give this video a thumbs up, just to get some good spirits involved, you know, get it kind of out of the grim, dark tone that we're sticking with for most of this. That would be great. It helps our studio out quite a bit. You guys are awesome. Let's get right back to this list. Number 8, Man-Wolf. In Volume 2 of Carnage, Issue 2, Special Agent Claire Dixon of the FBI assembled this
Man-Wolf?
task force and hopefully,
I thought it was about to be another ad.
Carnage's madness. She has Eddie Brock to help out, but this time around, he's the host of the Toxin Symbiote, and together they use a woman named Manuela Calderon as bait to bring out Cletus. See, she was the only survivor from his last rendezvous, and by rendezvous I mean massacre. Honestly, I wouldn't agree to that. Kudos to her, it's pretty brave. So she lured him into a mine shaft and then successfully cornered and trapped Carnage. Now what?
Damn.
The task force is also trapped in
She
there
got
with a man
balls to
named
trap
John
Carnage.
Jameson, but John's not around at the moment. No, instead Cletus now has to deal with the Man-Wolf. Must have been a full moon tonight.
Right.
A lot of fur, a lot of blood laying around after this one. They're just throwing each other around this mine shaft. It's pretty grim. They're smashing their heads into rocks. It's kind of cool. The fact that it's a werewolf fighting Carnage, I mean, you either love it or you don't. Things suddenly take a turn when
Bro, this is supposed to be a marathon of the top 10 most powerful alternate version of Venom, bro. Look at the top right corner. Like top right corner with the words. They switched up. This top 10 most powerful superheroes who lost to Carnage. Oh, so bro, I thought this was still going with top 10 strongest versions of Venom. Oh, they switched it up, bro. Oh, this is the marathon with other stuff in it. Okay, so I better pay attention to what's up there. So okay, that's why I didn't show Deadpool with the Venom symbiote, because it was basically just show that Deadpool lost to Carnage. Okay.
Carnage grabs that gemstone around John's neck, the stone that allows him to become Man-Wolf in the first place, and after that, he turns back into a regular, naked dude. He's dizzy, he's exhausted, and he's in, of course, immense pain. He lost his footing and then after fell from a cliff. He was so close to taking him down, but, you know, had to go turn into a wolf. Classic. Did you know Jupiter has 52 moons? If you were a werewolf on Jupiter, you'd be so busy. Number 7, Silver Surfer. In The Amazing Spider-Man issue 430, once again, Cletus was running around the city just attacking bystanders, throwing desks, giving people a finger, just anything horrible, being the worst ever. Luckily, he had to offer a helping silver hand to Spider-Man. The symbiote sees the Silver Surfer and it's intrigued, so much so that it leaves Cletus naked again on the street in order to bond with Silver Surfer. He sees all that power and he's like, I'll take some.
I knew Carnage bonded with Silver Surfer, but didn't it like not take long for Silver Surfer to take control of Carnage? So does that really count as a loss?
please. He then becomes Carnage Cosmic, and I gotta admit, he looks pretty sweet. In terms of host, that's a pretty high bar to set right there. Silver Surfer ended up handling him, you know, getting him out, but honestly, I'm kind of disappointed. Carnage on a surfboard, it's pretty intriguing. Sign me out. Number 6, Ghost Rider. Alejandra Jones first appeared in Marvel Comics in Ghost Rider Volume 7.
Oh, wait, yeah, this is during the Absolute Carnage, I think, right?
Where she trained in a temple to solely become
it's during
the next
Absolute
Ghost
Carnage.
Rider. When Absolute Carnage goes down, she's trying to now protect her village, but things get crazy when Carnage rips out her spine and then eats it. Now,
bro,
normally
and
that
he
would be
gets
the end
Spirit
of it. Like, that's
Vengeance.
enough to be, you know, considered a beatdown, an awful beatdown. And for Jones, that was the end of it. But when Carnage ate that spirit spine, he now obtained the Spirit of Vengeance temporarily, which is
fire.
just ultimate madness. I kind of like the way he looks, though. I mean, you know,
looks
completely
awesome.
evil and spine-eating aside. I like it. Number 5, the Mercury team. The more fighters we have, the better chance we have, right?
No.
Right? When the U.S. Army put together a task force called
No,
the Mercury
now I'm gonna
team,
come
they
to
thought
Carnage.
they
What
had
the
a
freak?
chance because each member was a soldier from a unique military branch. And also, they each got to use a symbiote for select missions. That ought to help out a little bit. Like, say when Carnage is loose in Colorado, time to call these guys in. The 4 symbiotes they use are Lasher, Phage, Agony, and Riot.
Oh,
and yes, they
snap.
also have a symbiote attack dog, which is just amazing. Still cute. Goopy, but cute. When they aren't being manned, they're to remain on ice, just waiting to be used again. They sound like the only chance to win here, but when Carnage finds their secret base first, with all those frozen suits and symbiotes, well, what's the point after that? This was the last we see of the team, obviously, but those 4 symbiotes bonding with Wade, you gotta admit, that's a pretty great deal. Number 4.
Shouldn't they have turned into hybrid?
Looking for
Shouldn't
your
they have
missing
turned into
father,
hybrid?
and then all of a sudden you fall off your board and wake up
Wait a
to
minute.
Rocket Raccoon and Gamora. You know, those classic days. Yep, the duo wake him up and say they're also looking for his father and his Black Nova helmet. So now this kid takes up the Nova title, works with the Avengers, the New Warriors, and the Champions, completely stepped up to bat. He was 15 only, kid was killing it. And in the Avengers X-Men Axis storyline, our heroes and villains switch sides. Their moral compass completely flips. So afterwards, when Carnage goes back to psycho mode, he needs to now soak up more evil. He's got to make up and remind himself who he is. So he goes to Sam's school and then makes a mess there. Horrible. Those poor kids. Those poor kids. Nova fights him off, but the fight is more of a tie than anything. They just both kind of do this. Nova's he's not looking too good here. Number 3,
Is it a
Venom.
tie?
Okay,
Should
we're
it even
finally
be here?
seeing Venom and Carnage go at it on the big screen next month.
Which I
Hopefully,
freaking
I'm
love.
fully convinced Woody Harrelson is going to steal the show. I'm so excited. But how will the fight end? In the comics, Venom and Carnage have had some serious
I know how it
fights.
ends, but I won't
Will
spoil
Venom
it.
eat Carnage like a midnight snack? Will Spider-Man have to come in and take Venom's side, singing Strangers in the Night, of course, while they do it? The beatdowns go back and forth for Venom and Carnage for the most part, but one of the
not saying
best
Jack.
storylines for me was, of course, Absolute Carnage.
Oh, yeah,
Carnage's
he bodied
connection
the
to
frick-
Null makes him
bro,
this godly
Just so you know, I actually have the actual comic book, bro. Speaking of which, you know what? Frick it. I'm gonna go get it. I'm gonna go get it. Hold on. I'm back. Y'all thought I was playing. Yeah, y'all thought I was playing when I said I got this. I got it right here. Y'all thought I was playing when I said I got this, bro. Y'all thought I was playing when I said I got Absolute Carnage, okay? Boy.
version of himself. And he gets beat so hard in the first issue that Venom is the one to suggest leaving. He's like, hey, I can fix you, but we have to leave like now, like ASAP Rocky. We gotta go. Number 2, Miles, Human Torch, and more. In Amazing Spider-Man issue 7099, we see Red Goblin on the cover. The lovely combo comes to life when Osborn gets his hands on the Carnage symbiote. In their first
honestly
battle,
looks cool as
Spider-Man
freak.
lost, but afterwards, Peter called forward some help, some backup. He had the assistance this time around of Miles Morales, Human Torch, Clash, and Silk. Usually, the Human Torch would be enough to get some damage done, but with both villains now...
Ah! Okay, thank goodness. Thank goodness it's a skip black. Thank goodness it's a skip
5
black.
years ago, Thanos erased half of the population.
Wait, hold up, what? They mentioned Thanos? No,
Now,
I'm
with their
sorry, I got
powers
skipped.
combined for Red Goblin, it was much, much harder. It was almost useless to blast fire at them. They all got their butts handed to them. Nobody
Damn.
was prepared for this level of power. But luckily, ANTI-VENOM came in to throw some hands back because Red Goblin was seconds away from finishing all of them off. Even after Flash had healed them, they didn't spring back up and start kicking people in the neck again.
How the freak y'all talk about thank goodness ANTI-VENOM showed up? Motherfucker, I've seen that motherfucker on the ground.
were down for the count. It wasn't looking good. They were no longer a formidable team at all. And finally, number 1, the Avengers. Speaking of teams getting their ass kicked, somebody as big and as bad as Carnage, who else to call but Earth's mightiest? In Carnage USA, Carnage has the ability to create
Carnage
clones
USA.
of
Okay,
himself.
yeah.
Now he can use multiple hosts, and he takes over a town at one point. It's really
So
stressful.
this storyline was
The team heads to the
crazy.
town to figure out a
I love this
solution.
one though.
So we got Spider-Man, Cap, Logan, The Thing, and Hawkeye. Everybody ends up getting.
But bro, the freaking art style for this one was crazy. You could just tell it right here, but the art style for this storyline was crazy, bro. Crazy, especially with the scenes where it was a lot bloody and gory, bro. It was crazy.
Symbiote treatment, resulting in one of the coolest but scariest situations ever. Spider-Man tried to warn the team, but they did their Avengers thing and rushed in as a group to kick some ass. Oops, everybody gets hit except for, you guessed it, Spider-Man. So now it's up to Peter to save the entire team of Avengers in Carnage USA. What a ride, you must check it out. Kicking off the list at number 10, we have Ben Reilly. Created by Peter Parker's DNA, Ben Reilly is a Spider-Man clone created by the Jackal. He first appeared in The Amazing Spider-Man issue 149. Issue 410 shows us a much different version of Ben, though. Carnage makes his way to this underground club. It's pretty fun, it's jazzy, everybody's dressed like a supervillain, so naturally everybody loves Carnage. They're like, wow, cool outfit. Love the claws, very realistic, we love it. Ben and Carnage fight it out, they throw each other through walls, all that good stuff, but when Ben gets too close, the symbiote decides to move over to the sticky
now that's
side.
cool.
Number 9. Scarlet Spider. During Minimum Carnage, Cletus Cassidy had returned to try and steal something from a NASA research center, but Scarlet Spider Kane Parker was there to save the day. He hasn't seen Carnage in years, but now he is ready. Mid-monologue, Kane leaps over and breaks Carnage's neck. He just turns it all the way around, just a 180. Bad times. Now, of course,
I heard that crack when he did that.
As Carnage turns his head right back and freaks out Kane, rightfully so, and then he stabs him with one of his tendrils. Carnage escapes using a Prometheus pit, with Kane swearing that he's going to kill Carnage for what he's done. Are you sure about that, Kane? He kind of just got stabbed with a tendril, so I don't know. And before we continue on with this list, if you want to go ahead and give us a thumbs up on the video, it does help us quite a bit. You're awesome. Thank you so much for your support. Now, before wasting any more time, let's get right back into this list. Number 8. Gwen Stacy. She first appeared in Ultimate Spider-Man 14. She's a daughter of Captain John Stacy, and her and Peter get close when Gwen straight up pulls a knife on a classmate who was bullying Parker. She's pretty in the Ultimates, as are most of our characters. She's pretty conflicted as well. I mean, her mother ran off with this random dude. She feels totally depressed because of it, and would stop by Peter's house to talk, vent, talk things out. Her father died when he was killed by a burglar dressed as Spider-Man, so she lives with Peter and May now. It actually causes Peter and MJ to break up temporarily. It's kind of a little romantic rift. A little bit of a love triangle, a lot of drama going on in that household. Very Big Brother vibes. But she learned eventually that Peter was Spider-Man, and she was upset, but she understood, even making peace with MJ along the way. So things are going fine. And after all that pain and agony and stress, later that night, after telling MJ not to worry about them, she was then killed by Carnage, who was looking for Peter. Peter felt bad here, obviously, because he had allowed Connors to use his genetic material to experiment on in the first place. If you know Peter Parker, you're pretty much doomed. So, if you see anyone doing any of this,
they never give my boy Peter a break.
7. Iron Man. Carnage 2010 issue 1 kicks off with Tony getting flipped off at a medical supply expo by Michael Hall. He's showing off a prosthetic arm that is controlled by a chip in his mind, so he's having an annoying start to the night, you can say that. But then he sees Doppelganger chasing an armored truck and sedan. This guy never gets a break. Okay, cut to issue 3, he faces an even crazier webbed monster. So Spider-Man volunteers to go after Carnage first, claiming that he at least knows the symbiote, but on the other hand, Tony is literally a walking tank. So Carnage grows wings and flies off. He doesn't even swing yet. But then he finds a window and attacks Carnage, and in the final issue, he pulls out the big guns. Literally pulls out everything he has. Even with the added ammunition, Iron Man is getting slammed down over and over and over again. His suit is
the art still reminds me of Carnage USA.
Even tipping him off that catastrophic failure is imminent. Well, you can't win this time with words, Tony. You just need more guns, apparently. Number 6, Gwenom. King in Black Gwenom vs. Carnage. We meet Earth 65's version of Mary Jane. Much more of a redhead this time around, you could say. Gwen met MJ in grade 6. They made a band called the Mary Janes.
Bro, this is the one I was talking about a little bit, way earlier in the video. When I was talking about, it's one where I think it was MJ became the Carnage. became
Gwen
Carnage.
had to skip jam sessions to go and fight the Lizard, so MJ felt sad. She felt like her best friend was bailing on this dream of being a famous band and touring the world. Their friendship is really put to the test when Null took over MJ and was named after the last Psycho, Carnage. She was made into a literal monster, and her only goal was to get the symbiote from Gwen and then take it back for Null to study. Carnage is great this time around. I mean, MJ turns an electric guitar into a battle axe. It's fun. The action looks beautiful. I could watch these two fight for hours. Things take a turn when Gwen comes face to face with Null himself. Carnage continues to overpower Gwenom, even leaving unscathed. Gwen and Carnage meet up once again, but it's at Madison Square Garden this time around because Carnage is now making her own band. It takes a rock off in order to free MJ, but the first couple of fights here easily go to MJ's Carnage. Number 5, SCORN. SCORN first appeared in Carnage issue 5.
Wait, who's
Michael
SCORN
Hall
again?
used the symbiote, combined it with technology, so now you can create and control limbs, like the guy I mentioned earlier. Sounds pretty remarkable. Amputees had a solution now, which is awesome, but the solution was the Carnage symbiote in a way, so of course it all went south. The symbiote escaped its containment cell and bonded to Tanis Neves and used her to rescue Cletus Cassidy.
Oh, this
That
one.
symbiote was taken from Shriek, so when Knives was close to Shriek, she reached out and a new symbiote was born. Hashtag SCORN. SCORN linked up with the Mercury team in Carnage USA to stop Carnage from taking over a town in Colorado. I mentioned that story in part 1 of this list. But in Web of Venom, Carnage Born, SCORN and its host became a cult leader, dedicating their time to retrieving the corpse of Cletus Cassidy, who the cult viewed as Null's prophet or whatever. SCORN resurrected Carnage with a sample of the symbiote, and as soon as he arrived, SCORN was, well, he was no longer needed at that point, which is sad, but that's the harsh reality of it. That's why you don't become a villain, guys. It's just
I thought that was Shriek who brought Carnage back to life. My bad. I thought that was Shriek who brought Carnage back to life.
used. Number 4, Agent Anti-Venom. Go Down Swinging was written by Dan Slott. It's a 4-part storyline that kicks off with Norman Osborn finding a new power. Yeah, he finds the Carnage symbiote, well, steals it rather, from an abandoned S.H.I.E.L.D. warehouse.
Oh yeah, this was just mentioned earlier.
With Norman, the agenda of course changes. Now he's the Red Goblin, and now he wants to do nothing else but kill. So Flash Thompson, Anti-Venom, rescues J. Jonah Jameson.
Listen, I know this video is almost done, but I need this to be addressed. Honestly, I feel like it was actually a good decision by Marvel to freaking take the original Venom away from Flash and give it to give back to Eddie, and then give Flash Anti-Venom, even though it's not the actual Anti-Venom, it's one that was just created. I feel like that was a good decision. That way we could please both the Flash fans and the Eddie fans. That way, they both still have their symbiotes. But of course, I almost did think it was a bad decision when they killed Flash off. But luckily, they brought him back. So I'm happy about that.
Being kidnapped, and when Peter goes head-to-head with the Goblin, he wins. Yeah, surprisingly. He even says some last words as well. He thanks Peter for pushing him this entire time, being the drive that he needed, because a man is only as good as his enemies. Okay, interesting. Peter won. This is great. We can start clapping, I think, yeah? Peter says he wished he could have saved Norman, and then he starts to laugh. Yeah, Norman starts to laugh. His blood starts to move around as well. This is all just a lie. It's all bit. Red Goblin is born. Basically, you got Carnage now with pumpkin bombs. It's pretty messy and terrifying. Anti-Venom was forced to save his friends or kill the Goblin, so he died a hero. His suit was barely attached anymore at that point, but Flash still stuck by Peter's side until the last moment. Number 3, Miles Morales. In absolute carnage, Eddie and Dylan are trying to lay low, but Carnage pushing them in front of a train.
Goodbye.
Of course.
Roman fees
Be back. All right, y'all. I am back. We're going to try to get through this with no more pausing.
Peter's side until the last moment. Number 3, Miles Morales. In absolute carnage, Eddie and Dylan are trying to lay low, but Carnage pushing them in front of a train changed that vibe up real quick. Carnage is literally seconds away from ending Brock, but that third rail held him off just a touch longer. Eddie knows at this point that Carnage is still alive, that electric shock therapy didn't really do much, but they used that time to get out of there instead of asking questions. Fair. While catching up with Spider-Man trying to think of a plan here, the news show this massive massive grave site that was just discovered. So Carnage is trying to find everybody who once was a host for the symbiote in order to obtain their codices. Now this Carnage cult was responsible for the mass graves, and in the next issue, Carnage now has this dark army with him, this horde. He's much more powerful than ever, living in the spire underneath the streets of New York. So comfortable. His rent's probably so high. When Carnage is about to take over the Scorpion, Miles jumps in to save the day, punching Carnage's head right off of his body for a moment, and then he goes back. But it's still cool. But a moment is all he gets in this fight, as the next page we see Miles fall under Dark Carnage's control. Number 2, Wolverine. In Spider-Man and X-Men issue 3, we see Wolverine go toe-to-toe with Carnage. It's a nice
that's gotta be gory.
crossover. Wolverine is still rocking the bone claws, which is cool, until, you know, Carnage eats them. Carnage likes the taste. I mean, to be fair, it's probably good for you. It's probably healthy. Pages later, Wolverine strikes again, and it's a fun time because Carnage is like, what the hell? I thought I literally just ate those things on your hand. What's going on? Well, Carnage, you now have an unlimited snack. Just keep Logan around and you're all set. And finally, number 1, Captain America and Co. During the Maximum Carnage
I know Captain America. Who's Co?
Out of 14, other superheroes team up to try and stop this maniac. We've heard about him just annihilating people for 2 lists now, so yeah, it takes a lot to come in. Captain America, Firestar, Iron Fist, and Deathlock all head to New York City. They're fighting Doppelganger, Shriek. It's pretty amazing. Even Cloak and Dagger get in on this plan in Maximum Carnage. It's a huge event. Everybody ends up losing to Carnage and his gang, though. It's wild. So the fighting is more so left to Venom and Spider-Man, but we have to mention the rest of these guys, especially to close out a part 2. They did a lot of the heavy lifting, and they got punched in the face quite a bit during this whole story. I think at the end of the day, we just need to avoid Cletus Cassidy in any form, in any story. I'll say that.
Yeah, that's about right. Alright. That's the end of this long A video. This is I enjoyed it, but it was the longest freak. What's up? God damn, bro, we've been doing this for 60 minutes, bro. Bro, we better go ahead. Let me just go ahead and end this, bro. I hope y'all enjoyed. Let's come end this video. Make sure you like, subscribe, all that good stuff. And until next time, y'all. See ya. Oh, my bad. I was looking at that wrong. That said 50 minutes. I was about to say, wait a minute. That would have been an hour then. Okay, no, 50 minutes. All right, let me hurry up before it turns into an hour.